So this is the season of everybody trying to figure out where to apply to college and de-influence my decision, where I apply, etc. You see a lot of people who are considering going to law school after they go to undergrad. So if that's you and you're trying to figure out where to go to undergrad and you're thinking about going to law school later, this is for you. First and foremost, forget about a pre-law degree. Really no such thing. Okay, you can have any degree to go to law school. I had people in my class that were doctors, chemistry majors, whatever. You don't need to do political science. I recommend you do something practical in case you change your mind and you don't end up wanting to go to law school. I had an undergraduate business degree. There typically isn't a pre-law degree, so don't even worry about that. Don't look for that. And the next thing to consider is who's paying for it. Student loan debt is a huge problem, and regardless of whether you're considering going to law school after you go to undergrad, I would strongly encourage you not to go into debt for an undergraduate degree if possible. And if you have to take out loans, go to where it is the cheapest. Given the passage of the new student loan laws and regulations, to be honest, very complicated. It looks like it kind of went back to the same situation that I had when I went to school, which was a long time ago. But there's like lifetime totals, and it may be that you cannot get federal funding if you've taken out a significant amount for undergrad. And you may have to get all private loans, which is usually a higher interest rate. Well, that's say just if you think you're going to go to law school and you've got to pay for your undergrad, you absolutely need to go to where it's cheapest. And then if you do go to law school, like I said, major in anything, go wherever it's cheapest. They don't care. The GPA, LSAT. Also, be a big fish in a small pond, okay? You want to go to an Ivy League undergrad, you're competing with all the other Ivy Leagues. Your GPA is probably not going to be as high, and you're not going to look as competitive. I know you're going to say, yeah, but I went to Yale. They still want a high GPA, okay? Be a big fish in a small pond with small debt. If you're still thinking about going to law school, I always strongly urge people to look at how much it costs. The average tuition only is about $30,000 to $60,000, and it's about $30,000 for public schools and in-state, and it's about I read $57,000 tuition only for private schools. Of course, you have to live, so add $20,000 more onto that. And even at your state school, you're at $50,000 a year. $50,000 a year also happens to be the max that you can now take for a direct grad loan. It is $50,000 a year with a maximum cap of $200,000. And looking at the interest rates for that right now, it is 8.94% with about a 4% origination fee. Payment plans now is just standard payment plans, and the income-driven plans, IDR plans, are now back to just what's called an RAP plan, and you have 30 years to forgiveness, and then that will be counted, whatever they discharge it, it's counted as taxable income. So I know everybody thinks that they're going to be the ones to graduate and they're going to make a ton of money, but the average entry-level salary in Georgia is about $85,000. My experience has been, aside from the very big top-tier firms, which only the very top students are going to those firms if they want to anyway, is that legal jobs have really not kept pace with inflation. So anyway, $85,000. Let's say you took out the max grad plus loan for $200,000, and that would be going to a state school at about 8.9% current interest rates with about a 4% origination fee. You do the income, or it's not called the income-driven repayment plan anymore, it's called the RAP. What would that look like? It would look like about $708 a month with forgiveness after 30 years. Of course, you're going to assume your income's going to go up a bit, and you can also run those numbers in ChatGPT, but you're going to be paying that much in interest. It's a lot. So it's I think maybe perhaps doable at this level. But the income repayment, or the RAP, is going to be about 10% of your income. This is going to adjust as it goes up for 30 years. If it's discharged after 30 years, then that's also taxable income. So, it's a chunk that just kind of hangs over your head. So you definitely need to think about, if somebody is going to go to a private law school, it's $60,000. You're talking about $80,000 a year. I mean, you're almost, oh my God. I mean, you're well over almost $300,000 a year. That's at a higher rate probably too, because you're max out at $200,000 a year for the direct plus, then you're going to have to get the rest with private loans. And that's a lot. Actually, you max out at $50,000 a year for the direct plus. So that wouldn't even cover tuition. So you'd need another $30,000, and that would have to be a private loan, which would most likely be a much higher interest rate. So, think about this stuff. And for the love of God, do not go into significant debt for an undergrad degree if you think that you're going to go to law school later. Please don't do it.